So last night I went to see the Meg 2, The Trench. Now, I saw the Meg in theaters and I didn't think it was very good. I'm not a fan of CGI. I'm not a fan of just gigantic special effects spectaculars that are supposed to be horror movies or sci-fi movies. They tend to just be kind of dumb and the effects tend to just take me way out of the movie. So I didn't think the Meg was very good. I had really no plans to see the Meg 2, but what can I say? It was my birthday and I wanted to go do something on my birthday. We wanted to go see a film on my birthday, and the only thing I really hadn't seen that I wanted to see was the Meg 2, and I get this AMC A-list thing, which lets me see movies the most expensive way possible without having to pay, any extra. I'm paying, like however many movies I can see in a month divided by like 20 is how much it cost me. So we went to see the Meg 2 in Dolby at my local AMC, and I really had no interest in it. I actually was saying going in, those are really comfortable seats, and I got a belly full of food, and if I sleep, I sleep. I thought the Meg 2 was a lot of fun, funny enough. Now, I had read, what is the Meg 2, you may ask, if you are unawares of what this is. So there was this movie called The Meg. I did a little research for a change for this, too. Apparently based on a series of books. I had no idea The Meg had literary foundations to it. The Meg was about a giant megalodon shark. It was a shark movie. It was people at an underwater research facility or something. Again, I don't remember it very well. And they're up against this gigantic, really big shark. And much carnage and CGI ensues. So the Meg 2, all of the cast, or the majority of the cast, it seems, from the Meg that survived the Meg are back. And they're back at it. And you have Jason Statham, and you have Cliff Curtis, and you have other actors whose names I couldn't be bothered to remember, but they're the same people. If you like the Meg, they're the same people from the Meg. As you watch the Meg 2, they make reference to the earlier film. Seeing the Meg in no way is necessary to see and enjoy the Meg 2, by the way. Just so you know, any Hollywood sequel these days, or let's say 99.9% of any Hollywood sequel, is made so that nobody who knows anything about anything can understand it. They'll do all the explaining for you. Don't worry about that. A film opens with Jason Statham, who is an eco-warrior. I'm not going to tell you the whole story. He's on this ship at sea, and bad guys are polluting, and he busts out the foo. Now, I don't remember any foo in the Meg. You'd think I'd remember such things. I enjoy the foo myself, and it's Jason Statham being a parkour kung fu action man on this boat. And out of the gate, I'm like, well, I didn't expect that. I enjoy the foo. I wish it was presented a little bit better, but I also realized that 99.9% of Hollywood films really don't have much interest in letting you see the action in an action movie. But in here, it was presented pretty well. And then we go a little bit farther along. Now, some people have complained that I've read that the Meg 2 really lacks much of any shark action until like the last 20 minutes, and that everything you see in the trailer for shark action really happens kind of at the end of the movie. This is true. It really doesn't have a lot of shark action. It has some, but it's a slow build up to insanity, carnage, and mayhem. There's some shark stuff throughout. What this movie really is, and it's probably best that you know this going into the movie if somehow you haven't seen the movie before watching me tell you about the movie, the best thing to know about the Meg 2 is that it is really a sci-fi action thriller with some sharks in it. It is not a shark movie with sci-fi action thriller elements. It is a sci-fi action thriller with shark elements. So if you go in knowing that, and that eventually it will pay off and you will get a lot of shark and crazy giant creature action, then you might be better off thinking you're going to be getting it for the duration of the movie, which is about 2 hours. Now, also going into this, I'm thinking, why does this have to be 2 hours? I was never bored while watching this because maybe, again, I was prepped that some people said it was very slow and the sharks weren't until the end. But I found it entertaining throughout. It's funny. It's pretty light in tone. It's ridiculous. The action is ridiculous. The CG is ridiculous. It is has a lot of elements of Jurassic World in it, shall we say. Don't want to give anything away. It isn't just sharks this time. All kinds of creatures are in this film. So it's a monster movie. It's a monster action underwater thriller with a pinch of kung fu movie, and I thought it was fun. How is the CGI? It's CGI. It's only going to be so good. Did I believe that these were really giant sharks there? Never. Did I just still buy into this movie? Absolutely. I really had a fun time with the Meg 2. I'm really surprised to say that. As I said, it often helps for me that I'm not paying a lot of money to see these films, so the expectations get a little lower. I thought it was not going to be good, so the expectations get a little bit lower. And people who had paid to see it, who really wanted to see it, were saying they didn't like it, so the expectations were really low. And what do you know? I had a really fun time with the MEG 2. Now, this is also available in 3D. I believe that 99.9% of modern 3D movies don't really work very well in 3D because 99.9% of modern 3D movies are not shot in 3D. They're not intended for what it takes for your brain and eyes to process the effect. They're quick cuts, they're shaky cameras, they're cameras that are too close, they're bad depth of field, they're all that stuff. Having said that, there were a few moments in this movie that looked like they might have been done with 3D in mind, and I did wonder after seeing it in 2D if it would have been kind of effective in 3D. Your mileage may vary. It costs extra to see it that way. So I think if you like Jason Statham being flippant and actiony, and you like giant monsters and creatures and some carnage, tourist-based carnage, the MEG 2 might be the movie for you. What this was rated, I have no idea. I never pay attention to that anymore because I'm old enough to not have to. Is it okay for kids? Yeah, probably. There's not really any strong profanity, nudity, anything really that would make a kid really want to see the film. But there's a little carnage here and there, but it's really pretty much any human carnage is off screen. It's just you see some creature carnage here and there. So in theaters now, I recommend seeing this on a big screen. This is a great movie for a drive-in, by the way. A lot of drive-ins are playing this with Barbie, of all things, but this is a drive-in movie. When I was seeing this indoors, I'm like, yeah, this is the movie to be seen like outside, frivolous entertainment for a big drive-in screen. So for the fifth time, I say, in theaters now, the MEG 2.